Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I'm Braden. This guy's Tim, and this is the Second Legacy, and thank you for stopping by. Today, we're going to take the 2A happenings going on. We're going to look at some lawfare that's happening to take out companies through financial means. We're going to put a little humor on that, make a smile on your face, put a nice garnish of sarcasm to send you through your 2A day. But right now, let's get into this, Tim. Oh, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. All right, Tim, listen, I'm not sure if you're familiar, but I think gun grabbers don't like guns.
I'm pretty sure that's the case. Yeah.
Can we put that as a proven expert opinion, the witness? That's actually fact.
I would sign that affidavit. Yes.
Gotcha. Well, there's something that's happening, and I'm sure there's no relation to this, Tim, but let me just run some things by you to set the table. Then we'll do some clips because I'm sure these are not related at all. So this is number 15. Letitia James, this was in March. Attorney General James secures $7.8 million from ghost gun retailer for illegally shipping ghost guns to New York. That's interesting. Okay, hold on a second. That was from March 6th. Let's go down to 17. Baltimore reaches $1.2 million settlement in lawsuits against ghost gun manufacturer Polymer 80. That was in February. Are you seeing the price tag bounty on ghost gun manufacturers, Polymer 80s and all that? You seen it yet?
No. I mean, you're talking about market price? You're talking about 7.8 million versus 1.2 million.
No, I'm just saying that there's millions of dollars that people are trying to get from them because they've seen it happen before. That's my point.
I'd be rather surprised if they had, $10 million in the bank that they could pay out these settlements. They're just bankrupting them is what they're doing here.
That's exactly what they're doing. Well, shocker of all shockers, Tim. Last week we had an announcement. There's a new lawsuit. And guess who it's against?
Polymer 80.
Polymer 80.
I got that one.
You are a detective. You are like, oh man, who could have seen that coming? Very few people could have pulled that off like you just did. Well, let's introduce the lawsuit and what's happening here. And let me just pick out a few things. I don't know. This is number 12.
The high school student with dreams of becoming a doctor was struck and killed by a stray bullet in broad daylight in the Bronx in April of 2022, blocks away from her school. Police say the 17-year-old who pulled the trigger was convicted of murder. Detectives say the bullet came from a ghost gun.
17-year-old? Tim.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
And blocks from a school, so that means
17-year-olds couldn't have guns.
Yeah.
And schools are gun-free zones.
Well, but I mean, Polymer 80, that's why they're suing them is because, that's, yeah.
Yeah, but it circumvents all laws, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, laws stop criminals. Clearly, that's the case.
Yeah, obviously.
And I'm pretty sure this is going to wind up in K-12 shooting database because it happened in the same zip code as a school. So,
yeah, that's exactly right. Well, this happened in 2022. So this has already happened. So we've got a lot of time has progressed here to bring the lawsuits forward. In fact, listen to what the lawyer said, because keep in mind, this was a 17-year-old who committed murder who was convicted, but it's not the 17-year-old's fault. It's the gun manufacturer's fault, right? All right. Well, this is number 13. Listen to the first lawyer.
Earlier this week, Angeli's mother filed a lawsuit against Polymer 80, a firearm manufacturing company that sells ghost gun kits.
The family has stepped up to bring down ghost gun manufacturers, a lawsuit that is probably overdue in New York. It's marked that way on the frame itself that it's a Polymer 80. Again, sadly, one that we know is unserialized, unmarked otherwise, and yet gets distributed into the kind of stream of commerce.
According to the complaint, Polymer 80 intentionally structured their business to circumvent firearm laws by designing, manufacturing, and selling ghost gun kits that can readily be assembled into functional firearms without a background check.
It is not illegal to make your own firearm. We've been able to do it since the founding of our country. It is 100% legal to manufacture your own firearm. So
absolutely,
they're saying this is illegal activity. Their business model was illegal in that it was trying to circumvent law. No, it was well within the law. That is so annoying to me.
Yeah, I know.
The reporting is
annoying.
Such BS.
Oh, absolutely. And that's part of why we're doing this, right? Because we got one more clip after that, but we got to establish a few things here real quick. It's absolute BS the way the reporting is, because she even said they're a firearm manufacturer who sells kits. They're
not a manufacturer of firearms. That's right.
They are not a manufacturer.
No, they're an accessory manufacturer.
If they were,
yes.
they would be violating federal law, and the ATF would have been so far up their bunghole for shipping complete firearms to people's houses,
Right.
they wouldn't be in business.
Right. That's
It
just
is
it.
not
That's
possible.
by them reporting saying they're illegally doing this. Then if that were true, they would be facing criminal charges, not civil
Correct.
liability.
Exactly
So
right.
It is
and something else.
completely dishonest.
Oh, no. Oh, it is. Something else I want to draw your attention to. Did you catch the actual verbiage in the actual lawsuit that they cited? Readily assemble can be readily assembled into a firearm. Does that sound vaguely familiar?
Yeah, readily convertible, readily assemble. Yeah, they're playing the same angle, and
ATF angle. Yep.
And they outright said what they're trying to do. The family stepped up to take them out of business. Now, in my mind, when your attorney says that screams frivolous lawsuit.
Correct.
I'm the only reason I'm bringing this lawsuit is to put you out of business. That's frivolous.
And I want your money while you do it.
You can't say that they've done something illegal like they're saying, because they haven't done anything illegal. Otherwise, they'd be facing criminal charges. Nope. So what you're doing is trying to sue a legitimate legal business out of existence for political reasons. That's frivolous.
Correct.
And that means if you lose, you get to pay their attorney's fees in many states, like mine.
Well, right. But here's what they're banking on. The reason that I led with the individual settlements from February and March of this year, this is all culminating from the states that are on the blue side of the spectrum passing laws that allow you to sue firearm manufacturers. That's what they're doing. You got Michigan has already done it. Baltimore has done it. New York has had it for a while. But they're trying to open the door for lawyers to do just this and as many lawsuits as are possible. They basically removed the stopgap, right? So what this guy's doing, this lawyer, is just throwing something at the wall to see if it's going to work out. He cannot prove criminal intent at all. Like, it is impossible because it's fitting into national firearms law easily.
Right.
They are not firearms. They are frames. They are not even finished frames. Right. They are hunks of plastic.
And the reason they're an easy mark is we have a federal law that prevents frivolous lawsuits against gun manufacturers, actual firearms manufacturers, which state laws that saying you can sue them would be in violation of the Supremacy Clause, but we won't get into that. So what they're doing here is they can go after Polymer 80 because they don't have the protections of that federal law because they're not a gun manufacturer.
Because they're not manufacturers. Right. Exactly.
But they're going to say that they're manufacturing firearms.
The same thing that they're accusing them of. Right. The same thing they're accusing them of is what makes them not protected by the PLCAA. Yeah. It is comical.
Yep. It's just
but when you look at the amount of money from Baltimore, it is. But when you look at the amount of money that settled from Baltimore and the amount of money that was settled from Florida to New York, is it any wonder why they're coming out of the woodwork? Because Polymer 80 has shown that they are willing to settle to make lawsuits go away, thinking that, oh, it's just this one. If you're from Polymer 80, I got news for you. You just chum the waters with your own blood.
That's why we don't negotiate with terrorists, folks. Because once you negotiate with them and pay them a ransom, they're just going to keep doing it. Now you've proved to them that you're willing to pay to get your people back. Well, same thing here. If you're going to settle out of court,
exactly right.
You're going to just entice other people to come after you, hoping for a payday themselves, and they don't have to litigate it because they think you're going to settle.
It will never end.
Right. It will never end.
It will never end. And lawyers are only looking for people to do it. That is it, because they got a payday waiting for them.
That's right. This is all about money. They don't care about your rights. It's all about the money.
Yeah. And if you needed any more clarification, I got one more clip for you, Tim. This is number 14. So this is, let's hit this.
They have a significant role that they play, and they need to be held accountable.
The lawsuit alleges that Polymer 80 flooded New York City streets with unserialized gun kits that can be assembled at home with no background checks.
It was able to obtain this weapon as a result of it being sold into the stream of commerce with no markings, with no way to trace it, without the requirements that are imposed on a gun manufacturer and seller by law.
The lawsuit is possible thanks to a 2021 law allowing the state and people affected by gun violence to sue gun makers who knowingly endanger the public with their products.
So there's a lot of systems in place to ensure that when guns are properly sold, they don't get into the hands of criminals. But this company, they just decided we're not going to do that.
They're not a manufacturer.
So they circumvented all the laws that don't apply to them because they aren't a manufacturer. It is the stupidest circular logic on the planet. But this guy, honestly, these lawyers, I swear, you could almost sue them for defamation.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they could, but they're going to be giving out all their money in these settlements they keep agreeing to. They're not going to be able to sue anybody.
That's true. But the entire point is they are conflating, and this is where it will fall apart eventually when someone finally grows a pair and calls them on it. They are conflating pieces of plastic that are not firearms, that are not sold as firearms, that do not require serial numbers because they are not finished firearms, with actual firearms sold through an FFL system. That's what that last lawyer is referencing.
Right.
There's the FFL system. There's serialized. There's all of these gun control acts. They are just completely negating them because the company didn't want to do its due diligence. No.
So
not really.
where do we stand? Because I haven't followed up with this one. Where do we stand with the ATF rule that basically redefines everything as a serialized part in a firearm?
That has not been enacted as a rule or even pending as a rule.
Okay, so it just kind of died.
There was.
I know they got a lot of
never
pushback, but
well, yeah, no. To my knowledge, there was never a rule in the books that says all the independent mechanisms were.
But they were working on said rule, right? They were trying to.
No, right.
They were trying to
make. I know what you're saying.
They're going to put Brownells and Midway and all these companies out of business because literally under that rule change, barrels, slides, firing pins would all have to be serialized to be considered firearms themselves.
Correct. Right. The serialization of the components.
Yeah, because ATF screwed it up for themselves long ago with the AR-15 saying the lower was the firearm, and then on like guns like the FAL, the upper is the firearm, and now nobody knows which one.
Right.
Well, is it the part that holds the barrel and the receiver, or is it the part that holds the fire control and the magazine? ATF has decided both ways over the years, and so they've made a big mess for themselves. So now they just want to make every part a serialized part, and then of course it would feed right into what these clowns are doing.
As of now, that is not a thing.
Yeah. So good. It's dead. Thank you. I needed to hear that. That's some good news. All right, folks. What do you think about these lawsuits? I mean, what do you think about people going after Polymer 80, calling them a gun manufacturer when they're not? Do you think these lawsuits are going to work? Or are they just going to work in far left courts? Or do you think they would work? It's a civil suit, so it's not going to probably make its way to the Supreme Court. But what do you think the courts are going to decide? Do you think they're going to do the right thing or the wrong thing? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you guys soon.